is Mary Ocha, and this is my presentation on the impact of social media on mental health. First, I'm going to start off with my introduction. Social media has transformed communication and connectivity with over 4.7 users globally. And I find that extremely crazy, but totally believable. And mental health issues have been growing and expanding, and it's been affecting so many people. And this is just growing continuously because of the effect that this has on every single person and the effect they're letting it have on them. And which brings me to my next slide, which social media has had a crazy impact on anxiety and depression among many users. And it idealizes like images and fosters feelings of inadequacy. And so it really has beat down people's self esteem and lack of confidence and everything because they see the lives of other people and they wish and envy that they had that life, that how it looks on screen. And they start to get anxious, and it makes them mentally and physically drained from just reading and watching these constantly. Which, my slide number 4 kind of dabbles in that a little bit. As I said, they compare themselves to what seems perfect on screen when people say they have the perfect lives, a day in the life, a For You page, whatever that consists of. It lowers their self-esteem, heightens their anxiety, and their self-worth gets lower and lower as the time goes. And then my next slide, which is the role of cyberbullying and depression. So this has been going on for a while. I feel social media has had a big impact on, cyberbullying, which is bullying through social media and the screen and everything like that. And people will start to harass people if they think that what they do is not right, or if they get offended, or if they're trying to be confident in themselves, that person will try and beat that person down, and it really affects mental health. So, the addiction factor. So, social media has really become an addiction for lots of people, and it's become a really bad behavior as well. And that just really just leads to more anxiety and more depression. And a study shows that it heightens anxiety levels, as a matter of fact. And it adds pressure to stay constantly connected, check your phone constantly, look at it every second. It gets really bad to where people, that's all they know how to do. And that's where the FOMO comes from, which is stands for fear of missing out. And they just don't want to miss a beat with social media. They don't want to miss a post. They don't want to miss a text. They don't want to miss anything. And that has really become an addictive behavior, and it can really get worse to where it leads to going to the doctor, getting medication, having stomach issues, and it's so bad, and people don't realize that it really affects them mentally, but also physically. So I feel like this next slide is really important as well. So social isolation despite connectivity. So social media can really affect your social life in person. I feel like heavy social media use replaces face-to-face interactions. It makes it different, and it makes it more difficult because all you're used to is being on the screen and connecting through the screen rather than having genuine face-to-face interactions physically with people. And it also has lack of emotional depth and online communication, and it fosters loneliness. And I feel like you'll really want to isolate yourself and stay on that, and it absorbs your mind, and it absorbs your heart, it absorbs your mentalness, and it's just your single focus is that because of how long you've been on it, the screen time you're getting, it really does become an addictive, serious behavior. I feel like this is really important as well. Withdrawal from real world interactions. It's so crazy because it's so true that over reliance on social media interactions leads to reduced offline engagement. And people who are really addicted to the screen have higher loneliness levels, is what this study showed. And I've met a few people personally that have had that happen to them, and I just had to cut ties because that's all they want is that screen right in front of them, and it gets really, really bad. I feel like this one is really important as well. Idealized lives and alienation. As I put on my first bullet point, platforms promote curated deceptions of daily life, increasing feelings of inadequacy. So, like I said in the beginning, the screen really shows you things that make you start to believe things that are real, like people living a better life, and they make all these things look cool, all these things that you want to do and that you want and everything. It makes it feel like this is it, this is my life now, and like this is what I want to do. And people will make that choice um, on purpose, or whether it just happens gradually over time. It becomes a life choice that people just decide to live like. Although there could be a positive side to social media, which is some mental health initiatives. So, like whether that's online communities, Facebook groups, mental health influencers, but you just have to make sure that the information they're giving you is really good information, that it's genuine, and that it genuinely will help you. Um, and that's when you need to start finding a balance in your life, I feel. That's when you need to find that balance, and whatever they say really needs to hit you here, so that way you can really feel like this will lead to a better way of living life rather than this addiction taking over your whole entire self. So there are a few awareness campaigns. So social media raises awarenesses and reduces stigma around mental health. People really take this stuff seriously because I feel like a lot of people struggle with this. Campaigns like Bells Let's Talk and mental health awareness. And there is some social media campaigns that you can also follow for reducing stigma. And I feel like that's a really important thing to consider if you have this addiction. I feel like moderation is so important when it comes to anything. Take everything into moderation. Never overdo anything. Limiting screen time improves your mental well being. Limiting anything improves your mental well being. Digital detox is reduce anxiety and depression, and this will definitely lower anxiety levels. And if you do everything in moderation and take a few times off and like gradually do it, because it's really tough to put the phone down, but if you just gradually take the time to really buckle down and get away from it and find other things to do, like hanging out with your friends or having face-to-face interactions, I feel like this will be very beneficial and make you feel more at ease and bring those anxiety levels down. I really feel like moderation is definitely key when it comes to something like this. And as I just said just a second ago, perfect strategies for healthy social media use. So, like tips for moderation: set daily usage limits, schedule digital detox days, and prioritize face to face interactions. That's a very important thing. You really, like I said, you really have to buckle down and almost force yourself to do that, so that way it doesn't lead to a terrible way of living to where your anxiety is through the roof to where you can't even handle it anymore. I feel like these are very important key factors to take into consideration, but also push yourself to these tips for moderation, and so that way that can help cure your anxiety and depression if you are dealing with this. So the pros and cons of social media. So pros, obviously, the memes, the connection, support, awareness. It's fun, you get to talk to your friends, you get to send memes back and forth, make cool videos, and however you like to do it. The cons, obviously, this whole presentation, anxiety, depression, isolation, overuse, and just addiction in general, and the impact that it can have on your mental health. That's a big thing. So it really comes down to what's worth it. So you really just have to take everything into moderation, and so that way it's enjoyable rather than draining. So in conclusion, I would say that social media definitely has immense potential for both harm and good for sure, and moderation is definitely key. That's one of the big things, is moderation is key, and that goes for literally any addiction for real. And I think that if you take everything in moderation, it will help your anxiety a lot better, and I think that's worth a shot to try, and so that way you can see a difference. And my final thought, use social media wisely to protect your mental health. Your mental health is much more important than the screen. And I think that that's something that everyone needs to take in consideration to really have time to think about that.